Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly fascinating sequence of events laid out in our source material. We are looking at the story of India's most prominent YouTube educator, Khan Sir. We're going to objectively analyze a really dramatic timeline, looking strictly at the data, the claims, and the exact sequence of events that turned a massively celebrated teacher into the center of a huge national controversy. If you've ever wanted to understand the mechanics of how public narratives can literally flip overnight, well, you are definitely in the right place. Now, you might be wondering, how does India's most popular teacher suddenly become a wanted man? To understand this, we have to start with a shocking night in Patna. It was June 2nd. A coaching center, located in an area where literally millions of students arrive with dreams of securing government jobs, is violently attacked out of nowhere. According to the source, a mob of about 15 to 20 people just showed up and began throwing stones. Offices were vandalized, hoardings were ripped down, and a security guard was beaten so brutally that he had to be hospitalized. And then, the sound of gunshots echoed through the dark. And here's the thing, this wasn't just any random educational facility. This was Khan Sir's coaching center, a man with over 25 million subscribers on YouTube. But the massive twist here isn't just that he was attacked. Okay, let's dive into Section 1, the June 2nd attack. We'll see exactly how he went from victim to accused in just a matter of days. The immediate aftermath is where our source points out a truly startling paradox. The very person whose property was attacked, whose staff was severely beaten, shockingly found himself named as the prime accused. At first, a rival coaching institute's director was arrested based on a complaint filed by Khan Sir. Makes sense, right? But then a video surfaced showing Khan Sir's two security guards firing weapons in the air. Now, the police allege that Khan Sir himself actually ordered that firing. However, the source shares Khan Sir's raw reaction to these allegations, noting his claim that his guards only fired in self-defense. According to his account, the attackers were brutally beating his staff with rods and had explicitly threatened a bomb attack. In defense of the aerial firing, Khan Sir pointedly asked, and I quote, "Is the bodyguard supposed to wait for a garland to be placed on him, or will he fire in the air?" Our source breaks down this rapid escalation step by step, and it is pretty wild. Step 1. The violent attack happens on June 2nd. Interestingly, police initially stated that after reviewing CCTV footage and asking around locally, they found zero evidence of firing. But then, Step 2, that video emerges and the guards are arrested. And finally, Step 3, just 3 days after the attack, on June 5th, an FIR, a first information report, is filed. And suddenly, Khan Sir's name is added to the list of the accused with attempt to murder and arms act charges. Oh, and within that exact same week, the fire department randomly audited his coaching center, handed him a list of deficiencies, and gave him a strict 1-week notice to fix them. Moving right along, this brings us to Section 2, Beloved Teacher to Accused, and the media's dramatic U-turn. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer contrast between Khan Sir's established track record and the sudden media smearing. His reality, as presented in the source, was a guy who built an entire empire from a single room back in 2019, providing dirt-cheap, highly accessible education to India's poorest students. The source even notes he recently opened a hospital offering blood tests for literally 7 rupees. But practically overnight, the media portrayal completely shifted. Certain channels began labeling him a mafia boss. He was accused of grabbing land and stealing his coaching institute from someone else entirely. They even began repeatedly referring to him by the name Faisal Khan instead of his actual name. The source neutrally documents the specific allegations that absolutely flooded the airwaves during this period. I mean, news channels actually announced that an Operation Khan Sir was underway. He was suddenly labeled an absconding criminal being actively hunted by special investigation teams. Broadcasters aired interviews claiming he initially faked the name Amit Singh to hide his identity. Some even went so far as to accuse him of faking Rakhi tying ceremonies, which is a traditional Hindu festival, just to pretend he respected the faith. The source asserts that this wasn't just standard reporting, it was a highly coordinated character assassination campaign. But the big question is, why? What triggered this sudden onslaught? To answer that, we have to rewind a bit to Section 3, the NEET leak catalyst, because the real story actually begins in May. The source argues that this entire backlash was catalyzed a month earlier. On May 3rd, the NEET exam, which is this absolutely crucial medical entrance test taken by over 2.2 million students in India, was held. But it was canceled by May 12th because the paper had been leaked. The source emphasizes how fiercely Khan Sir criticized the authorities over this. He became the loudest voice out there demanding accountability, directly attacking the National Testing Agency. He highlighted the devastating financial toll these paper leaks take on India's poorest families. He pointed out that families take on heavy debt, and mothers will even pawn their Mangal Sutras, their sacred wedding necklaces, just to afford to send their kids to these exams. When the government suggested they might use the Air Force to securely transport exam papers in the future, Khan Sir boldly mocked the whole idea. The source quotes him saying, "The problem isn't the transport of papers. The leak happens where it is printed." By speaking out so directly and so forcefully about the systemic failures affecting millions of students, he firmly established himself as a fearless, dissenting voice against the establishment. So the crucial point is right here, in Section 4, the timeline of retaliation. Let's start connecting the dots. The source asserts that Khan Sir wasn't just teaching history or science anymore. He was actively mobilizing student frustration. And this set up an explosive television debate on May 29th. During a debate on the Aaj Tak news channel about the NEET paper leak, the tension between independent online educators and mainstream media completely boiled over. The source details how the news anchor, instead of questioning the government, insulted the YouTube teachers, essentially calling them two-penny individuals who were just looking for views. While Khan Sir fired back immediately. He accused the media of abandoning their duty to ask tough questions, explicitly calling the anchor a broker and accusing her of running a shop that just spreads fake news. And this brilliantly illustrates the core argument of our source material. When we map these dates visually, the chronological correlation is honestly striking. Look at this. May 29th, the fierce TV debate clash where he challenges a major media anchor. Just 4 days later, June 2nd, his coaching center is violently attacked. 3 days after that, June 5th, he is officially named in an FIR for attempt to murder and gets slapped with a fire safety notice. Finally, on June 7th, that exact same news anchor files a 2 crore rupee defamation case against him in the Delhi High Court. The source asserts that this timeline is far too perfectly aligned to just be a mere coincidence. Finally, let's zoom out a bit for Section 5, suppressing the student protests, and looking at the bigger picture. Because this actually builds into a nationwide pattern. The source points out that Khan Sir wasn't the only one targeted. Over in Allahabad, when students protested against the NEET paper leak and other irregularities, local teachers stood in solidarity with them. The very next day, the state government seized exactly 3 major coaching centers. And whose were they? They belonged to those specific teachers who had supported the student protests. Summarizing the broader thesis of our source, the authorities are basically terrified of a unified youth uprising against a corrupt education system. The source argues that independent educators possess a really unique power to do 3 key things: educate the masses, agitate them by pointing out systemic injustices, like these paper leaks, and organize them into a massive, unified voice. By targeting high-profile figures like Khan Sir with severe criminal charges and media defamation, the goal is to break that chain, to frighten other educators into silence. Which leaves us to ponder the core question presented by our source material today. Looking at this incredibly rapid, highly correlated timeline, from vocal dissent regarding a national exam leak to a fiery television clash, straight into violent attacks, criminal charges, and massive defamation lawsuits, we really have to ask, are these legal actions a genuine, objective pursuit of justice? Or are we looking at a calculated, systemic strategy designed to silence the most powerful, independent voices defending the rights of India's students? It's a complex timeline, for sure, and understanding the exact sequence of these events is absolutely crucial for seeing the bigger picture. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and keep questioning the timeline.